Canada and the U.S. are growing apart. Canada just canceled a $19 billion fighter jet deal with the U.S. and is looking to Europe for military support. But why are these tensions escalating, and what does it mean for the future? As the U.S. withdraws from NATO and becomes more unpredictable under Trump, Canada's national security and economic future are at stake. The question is, how will this growing rift affect everyday Canadians? In this video, we'll explore how Canada's decision to shift away from U.S. defense contracts and strengthen military ties with Europe amid a 30% increase in European defense spending could reshape Canada's economy and security landscape. Stay with us to uncover the real-world impact of these shifts, and make sure to hit subscribe. Now, let's turn to Canada's defense strategy, a major area of change under Carney's government. The government has announced its reassessment of the $19 billion deal to purchase 88 F-35 fighter jets from the U.S.-based Lockheed Martin. The purchase was part of Canada's effort to modernize its military capabilities, especially with regard to air defense. The decision to reconsider the deal isn't merely about military hardware. It's a sign of deepening tensions between Canada and the U.S. To understand the significance of this, we need to look at the broader context. Canada has already committed funds for the first 16 F-35s, due for delivery next year. But now, officials are questioning whether all 88 jets need to be F-35s, and if not, they are considering alternatives. This decision comes on the heels of a major development from Portugal, which recently abandoned its own F-35 acquisition plans due to concerns over Trump's unpredictable foreign policies. Portugal's decision sparked concerns among NATO allies, especially since Trump's policies have shown signs of deprioritizing NATO security. For Canada, which is part of NATO, this poses a serious dilemma about its own defense independence and the reliability of the U.S. as a military partner. So, what are the alternatives? Enter Europe. In what could be seen as a historic pivot, Canada is now actively considering European fighter jets as replacements for the F-35s. The Saab Gripen, a Swedish-built multi-role fighter, is emerging as a leading contender. This aircraft is cost-effective, versatile, and suited to Canada's Arctic environment, making it an attractive alternative. Here's why this matters to everyday Canadians. The decision to explore European options represents a shift towards self-reliance in defense and closer ties with European nations. For Canadians, this could lead to new economic opportunities. The Saab Gripen, for instance, could be manufactured in Canada, creating high-tech jobs and boosting local economies. In addition to aircraft, Canada's move towards European defense partnerships could result in stronger military collaborations, which would further protect the country from external threats. The benefits aren't just abstract. They could mean improved national security, a stronger defense industry, and better jobs for the workforce. Canada's decision to look beyond the U.S. comes at a time when European nations are dramatically increasing their defense spending. Between 2021 and 2024, European Union member states have ramped up their military budgets by over 30%, reaching approximately €326 billion in 2024. This is significant, and it signals that Europe is serious about strategic autonomy. For ordinary citizens in both Canada and Europe, this could mean a reduced dependence on the U.S. for military hardware and potentially more stable regional defense. The European Union's Rearm Europe initiative, launched in March 2025, aims to mobilize €800 billion to strengthen the continent's defense capabilities. The goal is to achieve greater self-sufficiency, reducing reliance on U.S. military technologies and supporting domestic defense industries. This includes building more military infrastructure and investing in new defense technologies. For Canadians, the growing strength of the European defense sector could present new opportunities for collaboration, whether it's through joint military exercises, procurement, or even technology exchange. Canada could become a more active participant in European defense networks. Now, let's explore how these changes affect everyday Canadians. The shift towards Europe and the reconsideration of the F-35 deal are not just political decisions, they have real-world consequences for economics, job markets, and national security. With the potential for Canadian defense companies to collaborate with European manufacturers, new job opportunities in the defense sector could emerge. This could lead to more high-tech jobs in aerospace and defense, creating economic stability for workers in industries like manufacturing, engineering, and technology. As Canada seeks alternative defense solutions, the re-evaluation of military procurement could impact Canada's ability to defend itself. The transition from F-35s to European options might require a period of adjustment, but it also offers Canada the chance to develop its independent military capabilities, potentially improving defense readiness. Canada's growing ties with Europe could enhance the country's standing on the global stage, offering new opportunities for diplomatic alliances, trade agreements, and military collaboration with European partners. So, what's next for Canada? The country is at a crossroads, and its future defense strategy will play a pivotal role in shaping both national security and economic growth. Canada's relationship with the U.S. has historically been one of close cooperation, but with the changing political climate, it seems that the country is starting to diverge from its southern neighbor in meaningful ways. The decision to reconsider the F-35 deal is just one example of how global politics and local interests can converge, shaping the direction of a nation. As Mark Carney and his administration navigate these tensions, Canada's approach to military procurement, trade, and international relations will be under the microscope. For Canadians, this means staying informed and understanding the broader implications of these decisions. The choices made today will shape the future of the nation's defense, economy, and relationship with both the U.S. and Europe. In conclusion, the world is changing, and Canada's shift towards Europe could mark a new era of self-reliance and strategic autonomy. Whether it's rejecting annexation by the U.S., rethinking defense deals, or deepening ties with Europe, these are decisions with real consequences. For Canadians, this means new opportunities in jobs, defense, and diplomacy, and a future that is not solely dependent on the United States. Thank you for joining us in this in-depth exploration of Canada's evolving political and defense landscape. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. How do you think Canada's relationship with Europe and the U.S. will shape the future? For more on this critical topic, let's start with Mark Carney, Canada's new Prime Minister, who was sworn into office on March 14, 2025. Carney wasted no time in addressing what has been a contentious issue between the U.S. and Canada, the question of annexation. In his first speech as Prime Minister, Carney emphatically rejected the idea of Canada becoming a part of the United States, stating, "We will never ever in any way, shape, or form
What if
be
Canada
part
became
of
the
United
51st
States."
state of the
He
United
called
States?
such notions
In this case,
absurd
the U.S.
and
would
labeled
significantly
the US.
expand its territory,
Senator Marco
become the
Rubio's
largest
claim
country in
that
the world,
Canada would
overtaking
do better
Russia, and stretch
economically
across
as the
about
50th
80% of North
state
America.
as
which is
crazy. Why does this matter? For Canadians, the prospect of becoming part of the United States isn't just a political issue. It's a question of national identity and sovereignty. Carney's strong statement reinforces Canada's distinct path forward. In practical terms, this rejection of annexation ensures that Canada's policies will continue to prioritize national interests such as healthcare, environmental protections, and immigration without direct U.S. influence. It assures citizens that their political autonomy will remain intact, even amid rising geopolitical pressures. But Carney didn't stop there. He also took aim at Donald Trump, the former U.S. president, calling him a threat to Canadian families, workers, and businesses. This reflects growing unease in Canada about U.S. policies under Trump, which have made international cooperation more volatile. For everyday Canadians, this could translate into economic instability as trade relationships, tariffs, and diplomatic exchanges could shift unexpectedly. Imagine waking up every day to the sound of air raids and artillery fire. Your home is no longer safe, your loved ones scattered, and your country's very existence under siege. This is the reality that millions of Ukrainians have faced since the war began. But amidst the chaos, one country has stepped up time and again, not only in words, but in concrete actions: Canada. In the face of Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, many nations have chosen to stand on the sidelines. Yet, one country, Canada, has shown the world what true solidarity looks like, from providing military aid that has helped turn the tide of battle to humanitarian support that has saved countless lives. Canada's contributions have been nothing short of heroic. But the question remains, why has Canada taken such a bold stand? And what has it meant for the lives of everyday Ukrainians caught in the crossfire? In this video, we'll explore Canada's pivotal role in supporting Ukraine throughout this devastating conflict, breaking down the military aid, humanitarian efforts, and diplomatic actions that have helped keep Ukraine's fight for freedom alive. We'll also look at how these efforts have impacted the lives of ordinary people struggling to survive on the front lines. Canada has become a significant player in Ukraine's defense against Russia, with its military aid playing a pivotal role in Ukraine's ability to defend its sovereignty. Since the beginning of the war, in February 2022, Canada has committed over $4.5 billion specifically for military aid, contributing to Ukraine's defense through both direct equipment support and training. Canada has provided vital Leopard 2 tanks, Me-777 howitzers, armored vehicles, and a range of other essential military equipment. The Leopard 2 tanks, in particular, have been a game changer, offering Ukraine advanced firepower that is crucial for countering Russian armored vehicles. Canada also supplied Me-777 howitzers, enabling Ukrainian forces to strike enemy positions with precision from long distances. The effectiveness of these artillery systems was demonstrated when Ukrainian forces were able to push Russian troops back from critical areas like Kherson and Kharkiv. Moreover, Canada has been instrumental in providing training for Ukrainian soldiers. Through Operation Unifier, Canada has trained over 44,000 Ukrainian soldiers, providing them with the skills and tactics needed to counter Russia's heavy artillery and airstrikes. This training not only includes weaponry and combat skills, but also modernized tactics to make Ukrainian soldiers more adaptable to the evolving battlefield. The military aid provided by Canada directly influences the lives of civilians in Ukraine. For instance, the deployment of Leopard 2 tanks and Me-777 howitzers allows the Ukrainian military to push back Russian forces, ensuring that towns and villages remain under Ukrainian control. This provides civilians with a sense of security and reduces the likelihood of them being caught in the crossfire or forced into refugee status. The training provided through Operation Unifier has also helped Ukrainian soldiers to defend their towns and villages more effectively, allowing civilians to live in peace for longer periods. In the long run, this contributes to reducing the number of displaced people and helps the country rebuild after each offensive. More liberated towns mean fewer refugees, and families can return home. In addition to its military contributions, Canada has dedicated significant resources to providing humanitarian aid. Over $358.2 million has been sent to Ukraine to support its most vulnerable citizens, especially the elderly, children, and displaced families. These funds have been used to support the United Nations, the Red Cross, and other NGOs that provide essential services on the ground. Canada's contributions have funded food, medicine, and other crucial supplies. For instance, the World Food Program and the Red Cross have received substantial donations to deliver food aid to civilians in conflict zones. Canada has also provided funding for the International Organization for Migration, which supports displaced individuals, offering them access to shelter, food, and medical care. One of the most important aspects of Canada's humanitarian assistance has been its focus on winter gear. The harsh winters in Ukraine can be life-threatening, especially for civilians who have lost their homes or livelihoods. Canada has sent thermal clothing, sleeping bags, blankets, and other survival essentials to help Ukrainians endure the freezing temperatures. Humanitarian aid is essential for civilians struggling to survive amidst the ongoing conflict. For families displaced by the war, Canada's contributions are a lifeline, providing them with the basic necessities they need to stay alive. Winter gear, for instance, directly impacts civilians living in makeshift shelters or on the move, where access to proper clothing and warmth can mean the difference between life and death. Canada's diplomatic efforts have been pivotal in shaping the international response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. From the very beginning, Canada has been one of the most vocal advocates for Ukraine, consistently supporting the country in global forums like the United Nations and NATO. Canada was one of the first nations to impose severe sanctions on Russia, targeting not only the Russian government, but also oligarchs and entities linked to the Kremlin. These sanctions have played a crucial role in isolating Russia economically, significantly weakening its ability to continue financing its war effort. By contributing to the international coalition against Russia,